Hi, this is Carrie Hummingbird, and this is Soul Nectar, that show that describes people's experiences for how they connected into their essence place, because we all learn from hearing stories. It makes it so much easier to understand when we hear someone's personal experience. And today I'm so delighted to have Julie Hannon on the show. She's one of my teachers from the Four Winds Light Body School. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you, Carrie. Thanks for the invitation.
You're welcome. I'm so excited to have you on the show. So Julie is a graduate of the Healing and Light Body School and is personally trained by Alberto Vialdo, who is a fabulous, wonderful human being who brought indigenous shamanism from Peru and other places in South America to the Western mind, which is a wonderful thing. She is now a senior faculty for the Light Body School. And she teaches a full curriculum of classes, is certified by the Institute of Energy Medicine to teach dying consciously as well. She holds a certification in luminous healing from the Light Body School and has trained extensively in the techniques of light body healing, soul retrieval, divination, and life-death rites. Julie is also available for mentoring shamanic practitioners and light body students. So welcome, Julie, so much for being here. I'm so glad you're here with us, and really glad that I get to share your wisdom on this show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And actually, I have to tell everybody, this is my first venture into your show. So I know you from all the ways that I know you, but it's fun to see you in this realm.
Yay!
Yay.
Yeah, you've seen me when I was falling on the floor, like, oh, I want to, in my history.
But also your goddess singing self, who I love so much.
And my goddess singing self. All the aspects of our personalities and all the aspects of who we are. So
right.
I really love to start these broadcasts with a question, which is, what is your feeling about your essence? You know, what does that mean to you, essence? And what's your experience of it? And then also a story about how you connected with it.
I'm having that. I should have had the question before I started thought. What is my essence? You know, it's funny, I caught the end of your last program with Shaman Durek, and he was talking about love, love, love. And my essence is sort of somewhere between love and joy. And how did I connect with it? How did I reconnect with it? You know, I think part of the thing that I love about this work is that I reconnect with it by connecting to spirit. And rediscovering my own connection to the divine was part of the journey that I had. I hear my husband's voice in my head say, talk like a regular person. But this regular person connects to spirit, and that's how she finds her joy. And when I have the opportunity to teach and share and be in the presence of spirit and sharing the teachings, it really lights me up. So it's all those things. It's the place of connecting in my essence. It's the being in the dance of life is the place that I am in the essence. And it's not that I am a dancer or anything like that. It's just being in that place where I can be in the wisdom and the flow. Does that make sense?
Yes, I love it. I'm feeling it.
Good.
So how did you first reconnect with awareness of your essence?
How did I first reconnect with awareness of my essence? You know, honestly, I started to reconnect with it in my 20s. I was doing a personal growth workshop at the time called Insight Seminars. And and that really got me connected to my joy, and to start to change my messages that I had for myself from being not pretty and not smart and not, you know, all these things that I wasn't, into being more courageous and confident and trusting that I am beautiful, and that on the inside and the outside, and that's what started it. And then in my journeys in my 30s, you know, I don't know, I had different experiences and different life experiences, and got married and bought a house and had kids and did all that stuff. And then needed to discover the next level of that in my 40s and started studying shamanism more deeply. So I actually studied with a Native American shaman in my late 20s for a while, a man named Jaime Storm, who was one of the first North American shaman to ever write about the medicine wheel. and actually was shunned by the community for writing down in a book, something that had always been an oral tradition. And so it's been a journey that started really in my teens and 20s about how to be okay with being joyful.
It's so funny, right? To talk about how can I be okay with being joyful in myself?
Right. It's crazy. It's totally crazy. Total craziness.
It's like, and I think I notice people who are having this challenge of allowing themselves to be joyful.
Yeah.
Almost making up some more stories about why they can't be joyful.
Right. Well, and giving yourself permission to have the experience of love. I need permission. Isn't that funny? So funny when you say it out loud like that.
Permission to experience love.
Well, and I haven't actually had that, but that song actually that you taught me this summer. How can anyone ever tell you that you're anything less than beautiful?
How can anyone ever tell you that you're anything
less than beautiful? How can anyone ever tell you that you're less than whole? How can anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? That's the thing.
That is. And how do we fail to notice it? So you're a teacher.
Yeah.
So you've seen many students, including myself. How do we fail to notice that we are love?
I think we live in a culture that says we're not love unless we have the right shirt or the right makeup or the right hairdo or the right job or the right money or or we live in a country that's run by a person who says we're not love. This is dark and terrible and we're going to get control of this situation because it's horrible out there. So we have to, it's like you have to come into yourself and say, here I am in myself, full of my connection to spirit. So I guess that's part of my mission too, is to, my website, Inner Peace and Wellness, when I started it 10 years ago, everybody said, oh, it should say shaman and that's a bad search engine and nobody will ever find you and it's not a good tag word and la la la. But that's my mission, is inner peace and wellness. And now I had talked to somebody a couple weeks ago. It should say inner peace, joy, and wellness. But it's finding that by reconnecting to spirit. And when we're connected and we know this place that we're all one, because we're so connected to the trees and the earth and everything, and even the couch that's my computer's sitting on, and the technology that allows us to talk through space-time. When we know that it's all an expression of spirit, then it doesn't matter.
So what are some ways that you get connected to spirit?
I get connected through my mesa, which is my prayer bundle that I've made in my healing journey. By opening it, it's my own personal altar. So it's connected, a stone altar that's connected to the lineage that I've studied with. I get connected to spirit by being outside in nature and through ceremony, any ceremony that I'm participating in or creating, and through yoga and movement. And when I pay attention, I get connected to spirit by connecting to people.
Yes.
Because you're an expression of goddess. So I get to sit with the goddess this afternoon.
We are. We're all expressions of the divine.
That's right.
And it's so easy to forget that when we let our mind get in control.
Right.
And I was thinking about your statement with our current president, saying it's fearful and we have to control it and we need to. And I'm remembering back to one of the classes I studied. I don't know that I was with you in class, but my friend was. And we were both feeling like we had been under some kind of psychic attack. And we came to you. Do you remember this? We came to you.
I kind of do, in Joshua Tree, right?
Yes. And we came to you and we said, oh, somebody's been attacking our energy and we're feeling it and we tracked who it is. we used our tracking skills to find out who it was, and we need to tell you all about it. And you just sat back and you said, well, maybe the problem really is that you think you can be attacked. And maybe you should work on shoring up that hole in yourself.
Right.
So talk some more about that concept for people.
Right. So there's this great quote today in my practice I was doing from Eleanor Roosevelt. You might know it. Do you know this quote? No one can make you feel inferior without your consent.
Yes.
So it's such a fantastic thing. And I wrote it down I put it on a Post-it because I'm going to teach a class about just what you're talking about soon in March. And it's only the places that are inside us that want to be healed that attract that energy. So even, a year ago, I said to a big class of 50 people when we were working with the masculine energy and healing the masculine and healing the feminine and all that energy, and we were working with a particular archetypical story, and they were saying, oh, this story's out of date and it's old and the masculine's healed and it's already been honored and it's shifted into this great powerful position of balanced masculine and feminine. And I said, no, I understand and honor that desire and that dream, and I get how some of us are there. But if that were true, we wouldn't have this possibility of this particular person as president. And now that particular person is the president because of all the unhealed places in our culture that have been hiding in shadow. And so Shaman Durek talked about the dark is just needs to be brought into the light. And there is dark and light, and it's the balance of those two and honoring that they're there and clearing out the places, not like brushing them away or putting them under the rug, but saying, well, what is in me that's out there? If that's so awful out there, what's going on in here that's exactly the same?
I often get confused, and I'm really opening to enlightenment as I'm saying that. I don't want to give
a different possibility, right?
I'm opening to a different possibility. One of the things that I'm curious about is I've gotten many messages that we're on a path of ascension as a species, and that we're ascending our energy and we're embracing more light and more love through our experience of life as a species on this planet. And then I hear these other messages around, it's about balancing the light and the dark. And then you're mentioning Shaman Durek's broadcast, and in that he was talking about walking through the darkness with the light to call the darkness home. Mm-hmm. And so all of these things do they all fit together? Does it all fit? Because my brain wants to wrap around how are we bringing the darkness to the light while maintaining a balance of dark and light? And is the balance of dark and light shifting because we're ascending? Maybe that's the question.
I don't know that it is shifting. I think that the dark hasn't had our attention so much. So I think that I don't think that there's more dark or more light. I think that there's always dark and light. I guess I use that symbol of the yin yang in my mind and in my trying to get my left brain to understand this thing that's not really a left brain piece of work. And that in the yin yang, the black and white halves of the circle are the same size. And all the energy is from the space in the middle in that yin yang. It's the wave in the middle where it's pure energy that's where there's movement and action, and what's happening is in that wave. So how can you be in the middle? How can you honor? Because I think when we return to energy, when we become all light, then we're all energy. And right now we're choosing to express ourselves as humans. Everything is energy. The dark and the light is simply a form of energy. And the dark, I think part of the thing that makes my mind say, I'm not sure, is that the place where someone says the dark is bad.
Yes.
But in the Karo, they say Sami is light, light energy, meaning light weight almost. And Hucha is heavy energy or dark. So Hucha and Sami as light and dark, but not good and bad. No evaluation. Simply light, Sami, and dark, Hucha. And your Hucha could be my Sami and vice versa. Your heavy energy could be my light energy.
Interesting.
So what's good for me may not be good for you.
This is a really interesting thing. I'm going to share a story. So I have a friend who is very like earth mama, like deep roots earth mama. Like she really likes to have her roots sunk deep into the earth, which is more to me like a heaviness. I feel that as a heaviness for me.
Well, you're a hummingbird.
I'm a hummingbird. I'm like I'm a fairy energy. I'm more light. I'm more up. I'm more tricky, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I like it light. Like if I was going to feel my safest, it would be like a nice sunny afternoon outside. It felt great to me. And I think my friend would say, well, I like to cozy up inside in the dark.
Right. Or by the fire.
By the fire. Yeah. And so this is also leading me to this realization that within each one of us perhaps is the perfect balance of the light and the dark. And then as a collective, we are balanced, hopefully, or we are. Maybe the balance is happening at the collective level.
Well, I think, if we're tracking at that level, I think collectively we're out of balance.
Yes, we are right now.
And Bruce Lipton says, he jumps up at the front of the stage and he always says, if you want world peace, there's 70 trillion cells right here. Get these 70 trillion cells in harmony and then world peace. Ta-da! So it's like, this is what we have the illusion of control over, this body, this self, this one. So how do we find inner peace, joy, and wellness? I wonder if I can do that on my website, if I can just put a little carrot and add joy, inner peace, joy, and wellness to this vessel. How do we find that? How do we co-create that with our connection to spirit and our embodiment, so we express it in the world, so that everything we do plants a seed of beauty?
I love that.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes, delightful. And so how do we get there?
Oh, that's this crazy journey called life. This crazy little thing called life. Or love. I don't know. I think the other thing about love and light, and are we enlightened and are we ascending and all that place is that it, when we say, oh, we have to get to ascension or we have to get to enlightenment, it takes us out of the moment. And all we have is right now. So all that you and I ever have is what's happening right this second and the next second and the next second. So when I teach, people say, oh, you have this great life and blah, blah, blah. And then you go home. What do you do at home? It's like, after enlightenment, the laundry, right? That book, that wonderful thing of like, we have to be finding the light in everything we do. And yesterday I wasn't working because one of my sons was sick, and I was helping him get better and exploring, why is he getting sick the third time this school year? And he's sick for days, but I didn't get any work done, but I did a lot of mom work, and I got him, and he went back to school today, and he's better, and he's getting better. And so is that work? Not by cultural standards, but it was important work. So I think we get there by being where we are now, instead of trying to put something out front of us that we have to get to. We get more and more present with the now and be in connection and find out, what are those barriers inside of us that keep us from love?
I'm really feeling this message because a lot of my journey, I've been very proud of myself for being a manifester.
Yeah.
And I know that you know that because you were with me this summer in Ausangatay, and I had,
Right.
And Alberto said, you need to let go of your map. You need
Right.
to put it away, and you're so proud of it, but just open to something bigger. And because really that's trying to control the outcome from what I think I want right now, which might only be a tiny fraction of what's possible. That would be so incredible to experience if I would just let it happen. So I gave up that map, but that's a really, that's sort of like releasing a sacred cow. I love when you talk about releasing a sacred cow.
Yeah.
And I would so love you to talk about that for a few moments.
Yeah, it's so funny because I've been working with some sacred cows in my life. They take over. Cows are big. They take over, and when cows poop, their poop's like this big. Like, you don't want to have them around. It's great fertilizer and all that. My biodynamic farmer self loves it. But cows we make them so sacred and holy. And it's the stories in some ways, it's the stories that we tell even of success. And that success looks a particular way, or marriage, or a job, or what it is to be productive in a day. And then we build all these, the shamans always call them maps, right? You even just called it a map.
Mm-hmm.
We build all these maps of how it's going to look a particular way. But the map is not the territory. So I always say, I can give you a map from here where I live outside of Boston to Vermont to go apple picking, and I can show you the map, and I can show you that you get on Route 3, and then you get on 93, and you get on 89, and you go up there, and I can show you exactly where to go on the map. But that's not the experience of actually driving. And that's not what it's like to roll over the hills into the Vermont border from New Hampshire. And it's just a line on a map. But as soon as you cross that border, everything changes energetically. Because Vermont has this holy energy that's so different than New Hampshire, which is beautiful. And the white mountains and the green mountains. Very different vibrations. So what do we do with sacred cows, you asked? We have to first discover who they are and see them for what they are, and look at them in our house or our kitchen or our relationships or our work and say, what's sacred? And what are you making holy that's limiting you from some other possibility? Because you have this limiting belief that it's, like you said, I'm going to be, I'm an amazing manifester. That's a great thing. Keep doing it. But what if there's more? What if there's more?
Well, and that's what I started opening to was, I am an amazing manifester. I've done that really well. But what would happen if I let that go and something even better happened? What would that who knows what that could look like? And so I sort of had a tantrum, because usually releasing sacred cows for me has involved tantrums. I had a little tantrum. But when I released it and I opened to something bigger, then this Soul Nectar downloaded to me in November, which was only just a few short months since that healing in Peru and Ausangatay.
Yeah. Then
I received this inspiration, which was a glimmer on my horizon, or a glimmer in my awareness a year ago or 2 years ago, but when it downloaded, I knew it was because I had let go. I said, okay, show me what's possible. I'm willing to not manifest it from my limited perspective at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to step into the unknown and open to receive an inspiration. And when it downloaded, it filled me with so much joy.
Right. Well, and Carrie, you're talking about downloading, and I don't know who watches your show or listens, or in the ethers of possibility, it could be Donald Trump, maybe. But the place of downloading, for some people think, they react to that like, I don't get that. That won't happen to me. She's Carrie Hummingbird, and she probably gets downloads. But part of it is when you release the sacred cow and just make a space for the universe to fill in, or spirit to show up, or to say, so 10 years ago, almost 11, I quit my job, big 6-figure job, at the peak of my earning potential when I was 40 years old, and I had wanted to make a change for a long time, and I quit, and I had no plan. I just laid open the table and said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I have 6 months of salary. By my plan and my intention, I arranged this with my organization where I was. I have time. I have money set aside. I'm going to spend the summer with my kids, and I'm going to see what happens. And in that space, someone handed me Alberto Villoldo's book. And in that space of still not knowing, I went to an introduction weekend with him. And then when I went to the weekend, didn't have the money for the school, but I got really clear that I wanted to go. And then the universe gave me a contract that paid for the whole thing from the front. So part of it is when you let go of the sacred cow and make space for a new possibility that you don't know what it is. That's what you did, right? I don't know. I'm just going to let go of the sacred cow. I don't know what's possible. I know I'm good at all this and I've done this really well, but now I'm going to make a space for something else. And we'll see what, and you, as I say, as you've heard me say a million times, show me, show me, show me. What's next? Show me. I'm here.
That's such a powerful, everybody just absorb that for a moment, because this actually is an very different perspective than we typically hear in our society, which wants us to envision our end goal, our next end goal. So like in 6 months, I want this. In a year, I want this. And this is how it's going to make me feel. And I'm from my heart and I'm saying yes. And I'm envisioning it and I'm bringing out my emotion to it. And I'm opening and I'm manifesting it. I'm pretty good at that. But what Julie's saying is actually something really different.
Well, it's all of that, and then surrender, and then releasing it.
Yeah, that's the part I could never get.
Right. Do all that you just did, do it really well, and then saying, and I give it over to Spirit. We say, thy will be done. I give it all to Spirit, and I let it go, because you know what? Spirit could make it even better, and that's what you're already discovering.
Yes.
And that's what all this has shown to me so clearly, is that my surrender to the not knowing, my staying true to, I know I need something different and I don't know what it is, allowed this to come in. And I never in a million years imagined traveling all over the world teaching shaman, healer, energy work. I never wanted to have my own business practice. I never thought I'm going to be an entrepreneur and have a website and see clients. And no, I love working for an organization. I'm an affiliator. I love to be affiliated with a group and people and a company. And, it nourishes me. It's one of my nectars, being part of.
Oh, and I love that you're saying that, because, so it's about being honest about who you are too, and what really lights you up.
Mm-hmm.
It's really knowing yourself
and
being truthful with yourself about what brings you happiness.
Yeah, exactly.
And giving yourself the space to create a possibility, or have a possibility created for you that would bring to you the things you really enjoy.
Mm-hmm. We say the shaman's agreement, remember the only agreement you make, that when we call Spirit answers 100% of the time. And then when Spirit calls us, we answer 100% of the time. So this today, my invitation from Spirit looks an awful lot like you. And I just say yes. And I get an email from my husband. What's this interview with Carrie? Who is she? And what are you going to be online? And I'm just saying yes. I'm just going.
Yeah.
Just
to
see
where it goes. I have some ideas about why I'm doing this, but I don't completely know why, so,
right.
I'm just stepping out and doing it because I feel inspired to, and then I'm seeing where it goes. And I think that's such a different approach than I've ever had in my life. And I really do attribute it back to that trip to Ausangatay. And because Ausangatay is a holy mountain in Peru, it's the holy mountain. And I prayed, I said, okay, I'm willing to give you my sacred cow that I am this powerful manifester, and I'm going to give it to you. And I really enjoy being manifester, and I don't want to give it up. But I'm going to give it to you. And I'm going to trust that you're going to really know me so well that you're going to bring me something perfect for me that didn't even imagine, couldn't even believe, and I'm going to be so delighted when it comes.
Right. Beautiful.
And that's what happened.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I finally got it. I remember years ago, and I think it was in my class with you. We were doing reading the Signs of Destiny. And Alberto was in the room, and he was talking. And I asked him, I said, I asked him this very question. I said, I have a question. I had so many questions. I have this question. I was like the number one hand raiser. Especially if Alberto, I'm like, because I realized it was the easy button. Like you could ask him a question, and almost like whatever he was doing would just heal it, poof, and then it was gone or something. I don't know how he does it, but
yeah.
He does. So I realized I'm going to ask him a lot of questions so I can get my healings. And it was that exact same question I asked. I said, how do we're supposed to manifest, we're supposed to hold the intention, we're supposed to know what we want and dream and feel about it and visualize it. And like Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about it. But then we're supposed to surrender. And how did those two things go together? I don't understand that. And he looked at me and he said, well, Carrie, this is because you've been a mom and you've had to make the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And if you didn't do it, it didn't get done. And you've got this idea that you have to do everything. And that's just a false notion. If you could let that go, you let it go. You dream it. You say, oh, this would bring me happiness. And then you let it go and you trust it. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. But whatever's right for you is going to happen. And I just couldn't, it took me 4 years to really get that lesson.
That's not so bad. Some people take 100 and still don't get it. 4 years, that's pretty good. Express train. Rumi says, our job is not to seek for love, but to find all the barriers within us. And so as soon as we go out seeking, we're coming from a place of lack. But when we look in here and say, what's in the way of love? What do I need to get out of this? What's in here that's like not peaceful? It's not wellness. What do I put in that's not peace or wellness or joy? So all those places, as soon as we can pull them apart and separate them. So to find all the barriers within ourselves that we've built, that I've built against it. And I could say, this one put it there, or that one said this to me when I was growing up, or had that childhood, blah, 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 blah. But it's my journey. It's our own journey. And so what are the barriers that we put there to keep us from getting love or joy or connection? And whether it's a connection between the two of us or to spirit, which is a connection to you, this is a conversation between God and goddess, or goddess and goddess.
So you're also really practiced in another way of processing, releasing that which doesn't serve in the despacho. So talk a little bit about despacho as a prayer and an energy healing modality for, kind of doing what we're talking about, which is tracking those places that are ready to be released in love and to invite more love and light in.
Yeah. You talk about despacho a lot on the show so people know what that is?
No, we haven't talked about it at all yet. You get to introduce it.
You get to introduce it. So despacho, Andean despachos are prayer bundles. Not a mesa, not my own prayer bundle. It's an offering that you make to the earth. Think of it like a banquet for Pachamama, for Mother Earth. So it's full of, you can do a despacho with just petals and leaves and nothing else, just because it's an offering to earth. You want it to be a natural offering. And you lay out a piece of paper or gift wrap, traditionally in Peru, and you put your prayers into something that's burnable or safe to release into nature. And you use your breath, because the spirit travels on the breath, and you put your prayers in the breath into this. Traditionally it's 3 leaves. If you see behind me, right behind me, there's a big tree, a ficus tree. My kids used to say once or twice a year, the ficus will drop a bunch of leaves, and my kids would say, Mom, it's time for a despacho. Because you take the leaves and put your prayers in it, and then you give that to the earth, and you give it to the earth by burying it or by burning it for quicker release of those prayers. So that's like the very general overview. But what I want to say about despacho, and the thing about despacho is that it's an opportunity to pray. And I used to have despachos just for people who were shaman. And then I started opening them up to my community. And part of the reason was because I didn't want to teach what a despacho was. I just wanted to have a ceremony. But people kept coming who wanted to learn, no matter, even when I said this is a closed ceremony and you have to be a mesa holder carrier. And somebody brought a friend, and somebody actually reached into the sacred despacho, the prayer bundle that you don't touch. Once it's put in there, it's just like chess. What's laid is played. Someone reached in and picked something out and said, "What's this?" I went, "Oh God, I have to teach. It's my karma." Anyway, I opened it up to bigger groups, and people came and they would say, "Thank you so much. I didn't know how much I needed to pray." Even though they weren't religious, they didn't go to church, they weren't people who were particularly spiritual in their path. It's simply an opportunity to say thank you with your prayer. And a despacho is all about coming into right relationship. In Quechua, we say in Aini. So how do you come into right relationship with what's going on in your life? Whether it's an illness or a gratitude or a sorrow or being grateful for whatever we have right now. And that's part of the gift of what you're talking about surrendering, is that when you can be grateful for where you are, then you can go forward. When you can say, thank you for this amazing gift of manifestation, I release it. It's been such an amazing gift. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What's next? But not from a place of attachment, just of like, thank you, I release this. I've gotten so much, and whatever comes next. So despachos are, if I go back all the way back to teaching, they're very traditional mountain medicine from Peru. The Q'ero use them as a way of bringing healing to a person or a family or a community or a village. There are like more than 200 kinds of despachos for all different things, where there's actual sort of more formal, if there is such a thing in Peru, forms that you use for a wedding or a baby, but they're all to bring things into balance again. They're all used to bring into balance. So you make your offerings, you fold the paper, you put it in a sacred fire, and that could be all. Or you make the offerings and then you use the despacho to clean someone's field and to clear their whole physical body in addition to their spiritual body with the prayers that they've offered, and then burn it.
At this point, I feel called to just share with people that who may not realize it, but despachos are really, their prayer, and experientially you can feel the shift of those prayers,
right,
taking hold in your being.
Absolutely.
And it was funny, this summer I was when we went to Ausangatay, I was in the advanced group because I was graduated and I was on the mountain with Alberto and things like that. But there was also another group that was there that were beginners, and that group could be anybody. It could be people that had never done any work with him before. It could be, people that had gone some classes. It was a big mix of people in that group. Mm-hmm. And I made a few friends with the people in the beginner group. And there was about like day 3 or 4, maybe it was day 4 into the trip. And I just want to say that at these trips, we do the despacho every day with the shamans. You do despacho and you get, some energetic rites that sort of help your energy body to be stronger in the love. And
love.
Yeah, there's one.
Love.
Look at that. That's one of the shamans' despachos in all of our mesas.
Yeah, that's them.
Beautiful.
Looking over their shoulders. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So about day 4, I'm having dinner with my friend at the end of the day, and she just looks across the table at me and she says, "Carrie, what's going on?" Because I feel a little topsy-turvy. I said, "Well, let's explore that for a second." You've just been praying and putting really heartfelt intentions into prayer bundles with the shamans for 4 days. And they've been listening to you. Spirit has been listening to you. And so you're changing. The world is shifting for you. And so, yeah, it feels a little disorienting. And that's a really good thing.
Yeah,
that means you're changing.
Right. I can have, sometimes when I used to have despachos and fire ceremony every month for the full moon or the new moon. For a couple of years I did them. And I could be in the worst, foulest mood going into despacho and everything would change from sitting for an hour. Every single time, reliably. I would feel better. If I was sick, I would feel better. If I was grouchy, if I was just, things weren't going well, it would just change from simply making an offering to Spirit and saying, here. And, you know, one of the things I learned this past year about despachos is it's really important if you do them that you give them to Spirit right away. That you don't hang on to them because it's like setting a banquet for your mom for dinner. You know, you put out a beautiful buffet. You invite all your relatives and your ancestors and everybody to come and sit around this buffet and eat and feast on these prayers. And then you say, okay, look, but don't touch. And you let it sit there for a day or 2 days or a week till the next full moon to burn it. It's like, ew, who wants to eat the thing that's been sitting there for a week? Nobody. So when you make an offering, you give it right to Spirit right away. In Peru, they do it and they burn it right then, now, not like 6 hours from now or when the sun goes down. Now we do it after dark traditionally, but whenever you do it, you offer it.
I have this great picture of us. I don't think you were on that trip with me, but this great picture of several years ago in Peru on Mount Ausangatay, and we're all on top of the rock and the shaman's up there with us. They took a picture and down below on the crook of the rock, you could see the despacho burning. It's like such a powerful visual.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I was in Peru during that trip, but leading that crazy via.
Yeah, you were leading
crazy. That was 2012. Yeah.
So I know we're wrapping up on the time that you have to spend with us. And so I want to give you an opportunity to just tell us more about anything that you have going on coming up this spring that you want to share with people, or special programs or opportunities to work with you.
Well, thank you for the invitation to do that. My website is Inner Peace and Wellness. It's on its way to being technologically overhauled, so its look will change soon. But I'll still be there. And I offer classes. I'm actually teaching in Canada this spring, teaching Living and Dying Consciously there in Ottawa and further up north. And I have a medicine wheel that's ongoing, so I teach that. And I work with people individually and in groups. So I'm also starting to do some small group mentoring, which is really exciting. So there'll be a combination of teaching and learning. So some mentoring and coaching for individuals and small groups, and also learning a new piece each week, or every other week, something like that. So yeah, lots of opportunities to touch in, whether it's in groups or in class, or and I still teach for the Four Winds, and I'll be teaching the Three Masteries, maybe for the last time for the Four Winds, in Joshua Tree in March. So not my last time. I don't know how much longer the Four Winds will be offering that particular suite of classes. So, and come to Lake Titicaca with me if in the summer. I'll be doing a trip. So if the lake calls you.
If you have one tip that you could give someone who's stepping out into this purpose path, they feel the call, they feel that they want to be of service, their heart's telling them to do it, and they've got a corporate job, one piece of advice that you could share with them?
I think it's one, but it might sound like two, because it's married to both places to get a guide, a human guide. And really why I say that is because you want to have a sacred witness. So that's why it might sound like two. So there's this real miracle of what happens when you have somebody who's human listening to you. The miracle of 2 human ears, one of my teachers once said. And Jorge Luis Delgado. And so there's this real place of when you have a witness and somebody to both witness you and what's happening, and to say, hey, have you thought of going in that direction? Like when you came to me in Joshua Tree and said, we figured it out. Now, how do we extract them and what do we need to protect ourselves? It's like, oh, that's a lot of effort. So just those places where somebody can sort of hold up the mirror and say, hi, try this next. Here's the next step. Yeah. So get a teacher. Not from a guru place, not that guru at all. Hierarchical, no hierarchy. Not to put a barrier between you and spirit, but just to be a partner.
I love that. It's a beautiful message. It's definitely something I've done in my life. I've had many teachers, many people that I've studied with throughout the years, including you and so many other beautiful teachers in the Four Winds and the Toltec path and the power path. And, I don't even know how many more, I just love to learn. So, I think it's good. I think it's really good to have someone to witness you and also to be in community with other people who are also walking that path.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a private group, Facebook group for Soul Nectar. So when you sign up, you get to be part of that and communicate with other people who are on this path and share tips with each other and, all that kind of stuff too. So
fantastic.
Yeah. So just want to inspire everybody to take the next step. If you feel you're called to do something and you haven't started, just encouragement to take 5 minutes a day and start working towards it in whatever way you can. And if you're already on the path and you're feeling like you want some support, then get some. Lots of options here.
That's right. And Carrie, one of the things I've been talking to people about is that there's so many opportunities now to connect, to take a class online. Even the Four Winds is offering that now, to do a web-based thing and all that. And it's so important to connect to a person in real time.
And we can do it like we're doing right now.
Yes, just like this.
It doesn't have to be physically, although I like physically.
Yeah. But literal connection, not simply, but like a face-to-face, even outside of space-time, face-to-face in the way that we are, is very important.
Yeah.
Voice to voice, heart to heart.
Beautiful. Well, I'm sending you so much love and gratitude for being with us today and sharing your wisdom. And thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm going to be just giving everybody kisses. That's how I end all the programs. So if you want to join me, you can.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yay! Thank you. Until next time, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Blessings.
Great to see you, Carrie. Bye.